Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
I keep telling people that North Alabama is full, and we should stop telling people how great it is here. So if you're listening from out of the region, it sucks. Everything sucks here. It's the worst. Racism, frogs, man-eating alligators. Just watch out. But Forbes is doing the opposite. They're the latest media organization to tout its love for the Yellowhammer State and the city of Huntsville in particular, calling it, quote, the South's best kept secret destination, and tipping off more people to the fact that the Rocket City is pretty cool. Stop it. Stop doing this. When your family calls you from out of the area, you tell them it sucks. You do not tell them it's great here. They'll move here and they'll make it suck. Forbes touted the food, space camp, outdoor activities, museums, and even Alabama's Constitutional Village, which is pretty cool. Constitution Village, excuse me.
Number 6.
New polls, new leader, and this is what we saw was going to happen. It's reality. There was a trend happening, and momentum is on their side. It's a good thing when you're unburdened by the truth. A recent poll by the University of Massachusetts Amherst shows a significant swing in the presidential race, with 43% supporting Kamala Harris and 40% backing Donald Trump. The shift, largely influenced by young voters, blacks, Hispanics, and moderates, contrasts with previous polls where Trump had led 39-36. But again, this is the latest during a honeymoon. This is a trend that is happening. Harris is gaining ground in multiple states and taking the lead in the popular vote. She is now considered the favorite in this, as odd as that sounds.
Number 5.
A study by Smile Hub, which is a real thing apparently, has ranked Alabama as the most religious state in America. I believe it. Lived in multiple places, no doubt. It considers factors like religious interests, places of worship, educational opportunities, careers, and religiously affiliated organizations. Alabama scored highest in religious interest and places of worship, placed 5th in religious education and careers, and ranked 13th in religious organizations. Governor Kay Ivey attributed this ranking to Alabama's everyday values, while Smile Hub evaluated 11 different metrics on a 100-point scale to determine the state's overall religiousness. This is good. People need more of this. Our society would be a lot better off if we were more religious. I'm sorry, that's just a simple fact of the matter.
Number 4.
ISIS is apparently trying to stoke a war with the Swifties. That's what they want. They want to go to war with a bunch of crazy 16-year-old girls, and I don't know if they'd win that war. They have now gone after Taylor Swift's Vienna concerts that were now canceled after 2 men were arrested for allegedly plotting terror attacks on her shows after a large police operation led to the arrest and the discovery of several chemical substances at one of the suspects' homes. Barracuda Music, which I guess planned these, stated that the decision to cancel was made for everyone's safety and all tickets would be automatically refunded within the next 10 business days. Now, these young girls are completely insane, and they are very upset about this because they've been waiting for these concerts to come to their area. Again, I have a wife who spent hundreds of dollars going to these concerts, and yeah, they're nuts. They're nuts.
Number 3.
United States Senator Tommy Tuberville, a Republican out of Auburn, Katie Britt, Republican out of Montgomery, are joining with other United States senators to advocate against biological men competing in women's sports. They've endorsed a letter that has gone to the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, urging policy changes to ensure fairness. Good luck on that. The letter, led by Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican out of Tennessee, emphasizes that the core of sports is fair competition and that women deserve an even playing field, and it's not really where we're heading. And they're making that clear. They don't like this. This is all partially response, to recent controversies in high school sports and at the Olympics, as well as the Biden administration's changes to Title IX, which now include gender identity as a protected class.
Number 2.
It appears that the Hoover High School head coach Drew Gilmer and defensive coordinator Adam Helms are all but sure to be terminated here relatively soon. I think the momentum is definitely turning against these guys. There are videos online. I made one for Yellowhammer News, and you can see what happened there on the field. There's a lot of misinformation about what's going on here. But they've been placed on administrative leave. Wanda Givan, state representative, Democrat out of Birmingham, now representing the, quote, victim, end quote, in this case, and says the player experienced physical abuse and extreme humiliation, which seems a bit much, as does the description that the acts are perverse, perverted, abuse, extreme, outrageous, and beyond all possible bounds of human decency. All right, let's calm down about this.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, has engaged in a clear act of stolen valor. There are attempts to make this about Vance attacking him as opposed to reality. You would think they could just look at the facts and make their own decision, but they have to basically view everything through the lens of, aren't these Republicans terrible? Look at these right-wing nut jobs. Look at them. Can you believe they did this? But what's happening is these right-wing attacks, which are also known as the truth, on the Minnesota governor's behavior, show pretty clearly that on multiple occasions he crossed the line into the stolen valor category. Even CNN acknowledges, before they downplay and spend days telling you that it's a right-wing attack, they bring on people who acknowledge that this guy did just this. Walz did make a comment. He's done it a couple of times where he used language that suggested that he carried weapons in a fighting situation. There is no evidence that at any time Governor Walz was in the position of being shot at, and some of his language could be easily seen to suggest that he was. This is absolutely false. That's a quote on CNN. Now, they then go into a bunch of stuff about how J.D. Vance is the one bringing this up, and that's the more important story about this. It's about Republicans pouncing, not the fact that Walz is a liar. Walz chose to retire from the National Guard just before his battalion's deployment to Iraq. The guy who took his place said very clearly that Walz was a, quote, traitor, end quote. Walz then misrepresented his service record multiple times in public statements, interviews, and he used inaccurate information in his campaign materials. The guy is guilty of stolen valor, and if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't. If you can't see that at this point, that this guy's guilty of stolen valor and he needs to explain it, there's nothing I can do about that. Now, I can tell you, there are going to be people who insist that he not admit this for political reasons and people who will defend him for political reasons, but just be honest with yourself. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, engaged in stolen valor. Period. End of statement. Read the quote. If I was Joe Biden, I would say it that way. But that's not how things work in the real world. In the real world, you have an opportunity to weigh in on this and everything else in the 7 things and get your questions in for 10 with him. You can do so right here. 205. Nope, that's incorrect. 866-494-WVNN. 866-494-9866. You can jump in right now, right here on the ScoutPestControl.com WVNN hot take text line, the QC Kinetics free speech phone line, same number, 866-494-WVNN, or email me, Dale@WVNN.com. Dale@WVNN.com. That's the DowntownRescueMission.org email inbox. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson's 7 things you should be talking about today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.